Hi, this is InfoShare. I recently went to the RSA conference out in San Francisco. It's a huge conference with about 30,000 people, and not only are there a ton of people, but there are tons of vendors, 400 to be exact. And it should come as no surprise that those 400 vendors are very interested in talking to the 30,000 attendees. So after walking for literally miles on the trade show floor for a couple days, I started making some notes in my head about what makes a good booth versus a bad booth for vendors. So I thought I'd share my top 10 recommendations to any marketing team or entrepreneur looking to set up a booth at a conference trade show. The first four are related to talking with those who come up to your booth. So suggestion number one, figure out how you're going to say what you do in 15 seconds. If you can't do that in 15 seconds, then you failed. This seems so simple, but over and over again, vendors struggled with getting this very basic concept down. And so you got to figure out a way to keep the message simple and get everyone at the booth to tell the same story. Next, when talking with people, assess their knowledge for a topic without making them feel stupid. Sales and marketing people often make assumptions that people understand their product, what it does, or how it fits in the marketplace. So take a second to talk with the attendee and figure out how much they know, or so you can help them more. Maybe you'll need to educate them a bit, but that's all part of the process. But the key is to do it in a way where you don't make someone feel dumb. The third recommendation is to be sensitive of people's time. At trade shows, attendees have very limited time, especially when there are dozens or hundreds of vendors. You've got to resist the urge to talk and just keep talking. Check with the attendee to see if they're interested in hearing or learning more. But the most important thing is to give them a way out of the conversation, especially if they look like they're done. My fourth recommendation is to not let non-technical people present your topic if it's technical. So this will vary based on the attendees you have and the type of show, but in this example at the conference I was at, you have very technical people attending these shows who are going to very large booths with stages and sound systems, and the people giving the presentations are marketing people presenting on topics at such a high level, it's not even valuable for most of the audience to listen to. And while marketing people may think they know best, and what I'm about to say here really applies more in technical areas, it would be better to take an engineer or a product specialist and train them on public speaking so they can give the presentations. So all those things I just covered deal with some specific people interactions. Now I want to touch on some recommendations related to your booth itself. So recommendation number 5, don't have your sales guys create a wall around your booth. This approach makes the booth completely unapproachable. While it may seem like a good idea to flank the outside perimeter of your booth for people to talk to you, it only creates this unapproachable barrier. Get your sales guys to stand down and let your booth draw people in. So now we're on to recommendation number 6, and the background of your booth needs to quickly tell people what you do. Most attendees are not going to walk up and ask, hey, so what do you guys do? So you need your booth to do that for you. The wording of your booth in the background should be simple and clear, and attendees should be able to know right away if it's worth their time to approach you. And another important item for your booth, and this is recommendation number 7, is to have a booth with stimulating visuals. Incorporating some type of monitor that shows your product in use or is something that will catch people's eye. Now for number 8, I want to talk about giving away free stuff. It's a tradition at trade shows to collect vendor freebies. Attendees are like moths to the fire for vendor freebies, but if you're going to spend money on freebies, really think about the item that you're giving away. Is it going to be something that people are going to use? Will they end up throwing it out when they're back at their hotel room or their homes? Freebies are great, but make sure that you're thoughtful about what you're giving out, or someone's just going to throw it away and it's just basically money out the window. Number 9, there's a term in the conference industry called booth babes. And a booth babe is a term that's really sexist in its own right, and it's referred to drop-dead gorgeous women, often dressed in revealing clothing, to help encourage traffic to a booth. But the problem is when you have these women at your booth, all the customer does is stare at them and not your product. Many shows are starting to ban booth babes, but unless you're in the porn industry, take a pass on this approach. And finally, number 10, be prepared to demo your solution for people. If you make software, show it to people. If you have a product, make sure you're showing it off. Just talking about what you have and just letting people actually see it isn't effective and is frustrating for the customer. They have to see it. And if you're in the service business, you'll need to get creative to figure out a way that people can see what you do. Demos are effective and customers expect to see them at conferences. So those are my top 10 recommendations to any marketing team or entrepreneur looking to set up a booth at a conference trade show. I hope you found this interesting, and feel free to share it with a friend or a colleague. If you did like this presentation, please click on like below the video and feel free to share it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.